Hello and welcome to a Yarn Stories podcast. As you know, we're doing something slightly different this season, and today I am here in Hide and Hammer's studio with my very good friend New, and we're going to be, she's my co-host for the day, and...
That sounds so fancy. I'm so fancy. I'm the co-host.
I'm very excited to be talking to lots of my maker friends this season and bringing you various stories from their making lives, from their business lives. And yeah, first up is New. I suppose I should also, if you're watching this for the first time, I'm Carmen. I'm the owner of A Yarn Story and Walcott Yarns and Events Unwound. And this here is...
I'm New. I run Hide and Hammer. We're sitting in our office at the moment. It's a mill building in the outskirts of Stroud, which is in the Cotswolds, basically. It's not quite so much of the fancy dancy end of the Cotswolds. It's the slightly more down-to-earth end of the Cotswolds, but it's still the Cotswolds, darling, so it's fine.
Well, for people who maybe don't know what Hide and Hammer is, do you want to give a little introduction to...
Yeah, we should do that, shouldn't we?
Hide and Hammer.
So I make canvas and leather goods, basically. I started making things in this iteration, so this kind of combination now, when my daughter was like 6 months old. I started making like the prototypes and stuff when I was pregnant with her. Turned out they sold really well. We were
Let me just say that she sold them for like next to nothing because I bought one of those. Because I was like, you're selling an old leather bag for what?
So if you were around in those days, you got a great deal.
You did get an amazing deal. I swear to God, I think that was $20.
It was.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for investing in the seeds of my business. That was a solid investment, you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for believing in me. And here we are.
Here we are.
So we make bags predominantly for the knitting industry or crafting industry. You can use the bags for anything. It's just that I am predominantly a knitter, and that's been the best way for me to try to communicate with people and to sell the bags. Although I did do a fair amount of crochet, but that's a story for a different day.
No, that's a story for today.
Okay,
We're going to get into your making life. How did you get started crafting at all?
Oh my God.
Where did your knitting / crochet journey start?
My mum used to help in a little shop called the Needlecraft Centre in Chipping Campden.
Okay.
Which, if you have been to the Cotswolds, you've been to Chipping Campden it was about 15 years ago, I think it closed down. And it had been going for decades. It was run by a woman called Helen Kirkup, who is one of the best characters of memory.
Love that.
You know what, weirdly, so Polly that works here as well, so she and I both used to work there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And our mums used to work there, and we used to get left in various places around and told to count things.
Love that.
But
I can relate to that.
But we were never allowed to cut the cloth.
Oh.
I'll send if I can send you the photograph. We were never allowed to actually physically cut the cloth. We would be so much trouble.
Was it fabric?
It was so that was the Ada, you do cross stitch on.
The
open weave. Mm-hmm. And then there's loads of different numbers, and we would have to know exactly which one, but we were allowed to take it down off the shelf, but we were never allowed to cut it.
Okay. His early career in fabric and
so now
needle
that's all I do is cut fabric, because I'm I'm going to be so naughty, I'm going to cut the fabric. I'm going to cut this a little bit wrong. So that's kind of where it started. So Mum she could do knitting, or she did knitting. She does some amazing knitting. I've got a full Fair Isle fingering weight sweater that she made for my teddy. Oh. It's got cables and stuff in it too. It's amazing.
That must have been 1 mil needles or something?
I think so. I think
it
might not even have been 4-ply. I think it's the really fine Jamesons.
Yeah.
The lace weight one. She made that for me when she was ill, but it's got it's amazing. So she could knit really well, and she used to like predominantly do cross stitch, and she used to design cross stitch patterns.
Oh, wow.
So
I
it
didn't
came.
know that.
Yeah, she used to do all of that. Do you remember those? I don't know if it was a thing when you were where you were. Samplers. Do you remember samplers?
Yeah.
Cross stitch samplers with their like ABCs, and then they used to do the ones for weddings and stuff as well.
Yeah, I actually had a babysitter that was very into cross stitch.
Really?
So yeah, that wasn't something my mom and I did a ton of, but I had a babysitter that was really into cross stitch, and I used to cross stitch with her.
That's cool.
Like I didn't have a babysitter often, but she was like a regular, and
She used to do the cross
we used to.
stitch.
I was like a bridesmaid in her wedding later, or not bridesmaid, sorry, a flower girl.
That's
I was
cute.
little.
That's so cute.
So
Did you feature in all the cross stitch patterns afterwards? Is
think
there like a
so.
little mini Carmen somewhere as a flower girl?
Well, I don't know.
That's quite the legacy.
They like did all have a very certain vibe. Like if I look at cross stitch these days,
it's very different.
That's very different from what I
especially because the people used to look like little Lego men.
Yes,
with like the little like
yeah.
Sorry, Mum. They did. They were the precursor to all the Lego men that just sat on the walls like this. They were really like. They all had their hands down by their sides as well, like this.
Ours were really bubbly too. Like it was all very bubbly in its sort of style.
We had quite a lot of this.
Oh.
And just like with the eyes.
I don't know, we might need to have a little look at the difference between like American cross stitch and British cross stitch.
We need to.
Because ours was very much, like, I want to call it like a very Americana, quilty, cutesy vibe, a lot of it.
Ours is like hardcore cottagecore kind of thing. Like it's
yeah.
coming back around again now.
Yes, it is.
And I'm just really hoping that my dad doesn't try and give me all of the Morris dancing samplers that my mum made for him. So I came completely unprepared, and I actually, quite sure what that was, have the like first friendship bracelets I ever made.
So cute.
So this is like really. So these are my friendship bracelets that I used to make with my mum.
These are so much like such better like thread than I used to make.
Oh well, because she was like, well, these are it's the what do you call it? It's posh stuff that they use for embroidery.
I think we need to zoom in a little bit on this because we just changed the battery and I realized the angle changed slightly.
This is my good side. Yeah, so this is like because Mum used to work there. I used to braid her thread drawer. So
these are
all of the like
beautiful threads,
aren't they? Oh, this is a nice one. I think Mum made that one. Mum must have made that one because it's really even.
I don't know. These are pretty even.
Well, so here's the funny thing, right? And I don't remember a lot about her, but I do remember like certain key lessons that she taught me. So the first one was with this friendship bracelet. And I just remember her like begging her to finish it for me.
Okay.
Because I'd got to that point. I would think I must have been like 4 or 5.
Okay, so mine looked that good at like 10, not 4 or 5. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but we lived in the arse end of nowhere. There wasn't a lot to do.
Doesn't matter. How about you just take the compliment?
Okay, thanks so much. You're so kind. Not
this
like
very cool.
Oh, I lived in like 1920s Britain and I didn't have a TV.
Did you have a TV?
Not for years. No. My dad told me why a long time ago. Never mind. Okay. It's another story for a therapist. But yeah, so what I remember is my mum telling me about how if she finished it for me, it would look completely different because she makes things differently. And then in reflection, it's basically, that was my first lesson about gauge. That was my first lesson on the muscles in our hands, how we make everything differently. It didn't stop me trying to get her to make finish it for me.
It is good to get things finished. And I mean, we all did that when we were little, right? Like we'd get bored with something, we'd want it finished, but didn't really want to finish it. So we'd be like, Mom.
And I do finish it because it's better than the nagging.
So do you finish stuff for your daughter?
I do finish stuff for my daughter. Yeah, because there's a tone of voice that it gets to. Also, shout out to Eve.
Hi, Eve.
She will watch this with me because she loves watching Carmen's podcast. So, hi, sweetheart.
You can be a podcast co-host sometime too, Eve, if you want.
Also, Mummy's on the telly.
Side note, New texted me, I don't know, maybe sometime in the first season, and said, So my daughter says that you're clearly like the best knitter in the world or something like that. Or you're a better knitter than you, Mummy. And I was like, why? You're like the way better knitter. And it's because I was on the TV.
You got kudos for being on the TV.
Well, it's amazing. But like to think about, we do assume that people who
are on TV
are an expert.
Yeah.
It's actually a really interesting lesson in like
everything.
Yeah. Questioning.
Oh my God, we're giving out all the life lessons today, aren't we?
Yeah. Well,
we have to spread it out throughout the season.
Yeah. Well, side note there. These are just so soft and so like.
They are. Even that when I made it like 3 of them and then pressed it together.
Aww.
Like, yeah, it's weird,
so
isn't it?
Cute. I love that you have a whole box of them. I definitely have none of my friendship bracelets.
I don't have. Yeah. I have and they're in a little lobster box as well. My grandpa got me. So cute. Lobster. A little lobster.
So you were doing this at like 4.
So I started this really early doors.
Yeah.
And then I remember my grandmother teaching me how to knit. And it's one of those like weird things where as an adult, retrospectively, I really wish I'd stuck it out.
Okay.
So like as an adult, retrospectively, looking back, I wish I'd been one of those people that could have just sat with my grandmother and knit. Because I'm one of those people now, but she's never seen that. Like my mum never saw that. My grandmother never saw that. I mean, obviously, whatever.
I mean, that's like a ton of pressure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you were a kid.
I know.
Kids don't like to sit still.
But she also made it really difficult for me because even though she had like the patience of a saint, I mean, the woman used to work at Bletchley Park. She was one of the part of the code breaking effort. So her patience was like, yeah. And especially with kids, she was incredible with us as kids. But she gave me acrylic yarn and, you know, those like pony knitting needles, like the squeaky ones?
Yeah.
There was like another level above that was created somewhere in the 1950s, I think, that was stickier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I had some of those too to start. Yeah.
Like, I just remember this black, it was black as well. The yarn was black. And I remember it just getting like holier and holier. And then also like I was knitting into the bottom stitch every time. So it was just getting like more and more angled and the stitches were getting tighter and tighter. And I was getting angrier and angrier. And like it just wasn't, I remember it vividly, being a teenager and throwing it across my bedroom. Just being like, I will do this. I will get used to this. This is going to be amazing. And I'm going to show Granny. Ah! Done. Job done. Never picked it up ever again. I think I just pulled it off, put it in the bin when I'd calmed down a bit. So yeah, that was that. And then I used to do bits and pieces like friendship bracelets and hair braiding and all of that lot through school and stuff. And you remember when like you used to have the summer braids and stuff? And I did that. I actually made quite good money once at a school fete.
Did you? We used to do those. We had a big volleyball tournament in June every year, and we drove down to California. It was like an 8-hour drive, and we would braid each other's hair.
Oh wow!
For the tournament.
Oh my god!
It was like a whole thing. So the whole team had like full heads of braids, and then
that's so cool.
We'd all like try to, hold out as long as we could.
Yeah.
And then take them out, and then we all had the like crimped look for the rest of the tournament.
So cool.
I don't think it was cool. It's just a thing we did.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, it sounds like you and I had similar crafty childhoods.
I think so.
I did a lot with cotton as a child. Like I seem to remember a lot of cotton yarn.
Yeah, we didn't do any like macrame I remember macrame being like on the edge of like peripheral stuff, but I remember it being mostly.
You also just pronounce that American.
Macrame?
Yeah.
Oh, is it macrame?
That's how you Brits seem to pronounce it.
Oh, okay. Clearly I've been watching all the YouTube videos of my daughter. Oh, Eve will be so proud of me. Oh my god, what was she saying the other day? She said something the other day and I was like, that's not how the British say it. And she was like, no, it definitely is. And I was like, okay.
Okay,
cool.
YouTube, thanks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I didn't do a lot of macrame, but I had a weaving loom, like a little, and I made all these rugs on it for like my dollhouse and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of cotton yarn. But I think it's interesting to think about the materials we used as a kid. And, you're saying you had like these squeaky needles and you're given acrylic. And I also, it was all hand-me-down needles
You know what
and
Eve's
stuff.
learning to knit on?
Please tell me.
She's learning to knit on a pair of short wooden needles. They're the birchwood ones, the really nice ones.
Yeah.
And she's got Spin Cycle as her first project.
Yeah. I mean, we say
leftover,
this,
like balls of Spin Cycle, but she's going to stick with it because the color changes are pretty. Like, it's a smooth transition. She got really upset with me though with the acronym, the things I was using.
Okay.
Because I was trying to be cool. I was trying to be down with the kids.
That never goes well for anyone, does it?
No, it doesn't. But I couldn't remember the rabbit goes into the hole round the corner or something. I couldn't remember any of that.
Oh, that audio that was going around TikTok?
Yeah. But so I used the one that my friend was talking about where you stab it, you choke it, you put its guts out, and then it's dead.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
That's the one
on TikTok.
And she got so upset with me. No, Mummy, you can't. I don't feel comfortable using this, Mummy. It's quite violent. Like, okay, cool.
I mean, I appreciate that, Eve.
So she came up with something else. I think it was like noodles or something.
Okay.
But I will quiz her and we'll come up with another child-safe acronym.
Yeah. I think your point about she's going to finish it because she's enjoying the materials is a really good point. Like, we see it with customers all the time. Like, they're just beginning or they're getting something for a child in their life. And it's usually price is the biggest motivating factor in the purchase.
It's such a shame.
Which I do completely understand.
Oh, I completely appreciate where they're coming from.
To spend a ton on something that might not get finished. And I also know wholeheartedly that they will be happier and enjoy the experience more and therefore continue it more if they buy a nicer material, whether that's needles, a wool yarn, which is nicer to knit with.
And I think you burn through hobbies a lot quicker when you don't spend, like, with the investment. So, like, a table loom versus a cardboard box that and I know that it's not something that is accessible for everybody, and I totally appreciate that. But had we had access to the wool rather than the acrylic. I mean, my grandmother, bless her, she knit everything in acrylic. And I remember my brother having a Thomas the Tank Engine sweater that she'd knitted intarsia, duplicate stitch, the whole thing. Wow. It was incredible. One wash and you had wizard sleeves, but it was incredible. The work involved in it. But it's that thing, isn't it? It's like, you want to be able to hug somebody without there being an electric shock.
Yes.
Or walk past a wall or something.
Yeah. I mean, you and I are big proponents of natural fibers.
We are. Especially like in the business as well. Like, I'm huge. The whole thing for me is touch and feel. It might have stemmed from Granny's yarn.
I mean, possibly. And budget is important. I'm not trying to say that it's not.
Massively.
And there are really creative ways to make things if you don't have the money to afford.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, charity shop unraveling of sweaters is such a good way to go.
It is. I've done that a number of times. Yeah. Especially with cashmere. Cashmere is a really good one. If you can find a good... so my mother-in-law works in a charity shop, so she gives me the ones with holes in.
Nice.
And that's a really good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Because then you just double it up and you knit it.
Yeah. So, but natural fibers, good tools. And I think we'll see that in the workshop a little bit later.
Oh, yeah. I mean, oh my God, my tools. Yeah. I love my tools.
Neve has cool, fancy tools.
I love my tools. Well, it's the same thing. So when I first started with the saddlery, there was a company called Dixon's that was still running. They were at the time the only maker of steel tools for the saddlery industry in the UK. Okay. And the issue being that they went out of business and everybody went on eBay. Like you'll see from the videos later that there are certain tools that are really nice and fine, and then other tools that I've had to grind down and work with to make them finer, to make them work better. But a lot of my tools have the little arrow on them that means that they are from the wartime.
Oh, interesting.
So they're like the 1940s, 1945-ish.
Also, how amazing is it that tools from that long ago, I mean, we're going on 80 years then, are still usable.
Well, they were made to last,
Yeah.
which is also like a huge thing for me. I try and make everything to last using materials that I know will last. And it's that like we carefully select our fittings, we carefully select our colours. You know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to make sure that we've got what we feel to be the best of the best.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so back to that black acrylic project you're working on in your teen years. So how did you get from tossing that in the garbage to being the incredible seamstress and knitter and crocheter? Because knew at the beginning of this, I was like, I'm not really a crocheter, but I am going to bring up the crochet shoes you've made. So how did we get from there to here?
Okay, so we actually, like, the seamstress side of it is something that I completely discounted. Like, my brother and I used to do a lot of sewing projects as kids.
Amazing.
My stepmother got really cross with him once, and it was actually really funny because he put a shirt through her sewing machine with a ton of tulle. Like, it had, like, he was trying to make some sort of Renaissance style shirt
with tulle,
and it had like the biggest sleeves that you've ever seen, and he added loads to the back, and it's one of my fondest memories of my brother. And I love it, absolutely loved it. I don't know if that sewing machine was ever salvaged. But I also used to do that thing. Did you do the thing when you were a teenager where you'd put the extra panels in your flares?
Oh yeah, that was definitely, I'm a little bit older than you, so it was like, I was almost at college.
Okay. So
also there was like, we did like ribbon down the side.
Oh, we never got the ribbon.
Yeah, I remember that being a real thing. I was very into vintage Levi's jeans shopping, men's.
Oh yeah.
Because both of us are very tall. So the men's jeans fit me well as a teenager because, you know, my hips hadn't quite become
appreciate that.
Women's hips yet.
Yeah, I didn't grow hips until I discovered beer and pizza at uni.
Yeah, basically. And yeah, I used to like embellish them quite a bit or there was like a time too where like ribbon, I think that's come back a little bit.
I think it is. And so we used to do the flares and then I always used to add a panel to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
But I remember once like not cutting the panel short enough and just dragging wet jeans around with me.
I mean, that's pretty much the thing.
Never stops raining in England.
Yeah.
Except for today, apparently.
Yeah, today we're having a lovely sunny day.
So I went from that and I put it all down for years. And then at university, so I went to university in Oxford, and my third year of uni, I was not crashing and burning, but I just couldn't get, it was a lot of stress. It was a lot of pressure. It just is, you know?
Third year of uni is your last year here, isn't it?
Yes.
Final year.
Yeah, final year. And it was a lot of everything, and I just thought, sod it, I'm going to give something else a go. And I went to a Renaissance fair with an ex-boyfriend.
Love it.
As you do. And there was a lady there. She's still in business. Mm-hmm. I will see if I can find you the link for her. She's called The Natural Dyer.
Okay.
And she was lovely. And she had a crochet scarf laid out that she'd made in silk. Ooh. And it was a rainbow kind of esque. So she dyed it and made it and laid it out. And I thought, oh, that's quite good fun. I could do that. And so she showed me the basic stitches. And I bought some yarn from her. I bought a crochet hook that I still got, actually, a little wooden crochet hook. And I couldn't bloody do it. I got so cross with it. Again, I see a repeating pattern. And then I went to the pub with an ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend, as you do. And she showed me how to do it. And I was like, oh, that's so simple. Like, so simple. I was completely over-engineering it. I was thinking around.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
So many ongoing themes in my life. We should have done this years ago. Saved me a fortune in therapy. And so from there, I started making these little squares, and then I started reading. Do you remember The Happy Hooker?
No.
Do you remember that book?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, it's brilliant. Also, because if you have a book on the bookcase that says The Happy Hooker, and your very staunchly Catholic parents are like, what is this? You're like, it's crochet.
I'm buying that. That's going to be on
it's
my
fine.
shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm allowed to because it's creative. So that's fine too. It's the rebel in
You
me.
weren't a rebellious teen at all, were you?
No. And so that's kind of how it started. And I did the whole, oh, well, I'll never be able to knit.
No.
And I was like, I'd never be able to knit. It's too complicated. You've got so many hooks and the things and the stuff. I can't do it. And then I bought so from the Happy Hooker, she does one called Stitch and Bitch, which I think everybody has seen the cover. Well, everyone of our generation maybe would have seen that. Like, it's a pink and blue cover, I think. And it was brilliant. It had everything I needed in it. And I made these horrible cashmere, extra chunky, hand mittened things.
I like that you went cashmere then.
Oh yeah, I wasn't going back to acrylic. I went way too far the other way. And there was this little yarn shop in Oxford down in Jericho, and she had these balls of I think they must have been like, I don't know if they were in the sale bin or not, but they were like the extra chunky ones. So I bought those and I did like a knit and pearl rib all the way around. I kept going and then just seaming them up 1 2 1 2. And I wore them religiously for ages and I was dead chuffed with myself. And I was
As you should have been.
Well, yeah. And then I was like, well, what else can I make? But, oh yeah, here's a little fact about me. I didn't actually make a jumper till about 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I've been knitting for, 15 years. I didn't actually make a jumper until...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
I didn't... It's the commitment of it all. Yeah, I did that thing where I was like, oh no, gauge is too complicated, just like knitting. Oh no, it's too much. Yeah, I made a jumper. It's fine. Still got it. Fine.
And now every jumper you make, I get some message from you that's like, I disagreed with this, so I've just redesigned it myself. I've re-engineered it.
Yep.
How far you've come.
I know. Yeah. I get bored easily, is the thing. It's nothing against the knitting pattern. It's nothing against the designer. It's nothing against like any of that. I just, like to fiddle with it.
Well, sure.
And I'm getting better at knowing my body as well, because that's the biggest hurdle I found to overcome. Because my body is not like everybody else's. And so
nobody's body is like anyone else's.
This is what I mean, right?
Actually,
so we are all completely different. I mean, you and I have two very obvious differences, that we're like a foot taller than most of the people that write pattern designs.
Yes.
Which is fine. So we add 2 extra inches, but then that also adds to this bit and this bit, and then
yes, because it has to be proportional
massively,
which is I mean, we could do a whole episode on that topic, but
my God, all the things we've knit versus like how they look on one body type as opposed to the other. Like I weightlift and stuff as well, so I've got muscle, and like from the saddlery and stuff, I've got muscles in my neck that I need to accommodate for.
Well, yes, and length happens at different spots in different people. Really so you and I actually have very similarly length legs. So my extra height is in my torso in comparison to you. Yeah. But for someone else who is our same or similar height, that might be the complete opposite, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like that thing when you have friends that are different heights and you sit next to them and you're the same height and then they stand up and you're shorter. It's like that's where really
that height is. And so your waist can be in a really different spot. Which is why, making things is also really cool. Well, because we can make them fit us.
Yeah, that's why I started making my own clothes, predominantly. Because I don't just have extra length in the legs, I've got an extra 2 inches.
Yeah.
And I got fed up of jumpsuits trying to eat me.
Well, or dresses. I always find that super frustrating. People are like, oh, well, it's just like a couple inches short on your legs. You should have a mini skirt. So I'm like, no. The problem is the waist is in a really unflattering spot.
I remember trying to find a ball gown dress for this military ball, and I was wearing the thing and I pulled it up and it fit here, and the hips were here.
Yeah.
And then I breathed out and it went down to my hips and it was like here, the top was here. I was like, this isn't going to work for me.
Yeah.
Not going to work for me. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. I became an obsessive knitter. Or what do they call it? Knitter with a capital K, whatever it is. I became an obsessive knitter a couple of years before my daughter was born.
That must have been when I met you.
Yeah, I think it was. Actually, I think my coming to a yarn story and my obsessive knitting collided around the same time.
Did it now?
Yeah, can't think why. When I fell pregnant, I got 2 kids. I should say hi to Ona as well. Sorry, buddy.
He'll watch this at some point when he's a little bit older and be like, hey, I got left out.
He'll be like, Mom, you love me too. I do. I love you both. Hi. So for some reason, when I fell pregnant, I just stopped knitting. Like it's something to do with the hormones in your brain that you're like, right, you got to focus on this now. But it's really nice to then come back to it. It's really nice to then be like, oh, I remember, like I really enjoyed this. Oh, I really enjoyed making this. And then all the projects that were sitting on the side, I was like, oh, I got so far with this. So yeah.
I mean, you're a pretty obsessive knitter. Like you're very good at always having something on the go. Like I'm not necessarily one of those knitters that has a project when I go out to dinner.
I get that.
Is in conversation with people, but you always are bringing something.
You know, I find it really difficult to focus on a conversation, and if I don't have my hands, like otherwise I'm like this. You know, and my husband says I have a very expressive face. I have very expressive hands as well. Like, there's a lot going on, and I'm really sorry if you're watching this on a big TV.
Don't apologize.
Stretch your face.
It's animated. It's good. Entertaining.
So that's like, yeah, I do. And I specifically choose projects that I can sit by the side of swimming lessons, that I can knit in the car when I'm waiting for gymnastics lessons. And also that I think it's a bit of a safety blanket sometimes. I don't always feel comfortable in social situations.
Okay.
So I think that having something to sit and focus on means that I'm not like over analysing things or picking myself apart. So I think that's a huge thing. It's been a massively enabling part of the last 8 years or so.
Amazing. Do you feel like I feel like I just said amazing in a really dismissive way, which I didn't mean. I was just trying to remember the question I've been thinking about.
It's on camera.
I just like heard that and was like,
can see.
Yeah.
What? You heard what she said? Did you hear what she said? The way I'm being treated.
Remembering my question. So has your knitting changed or evolved, like from the knitter you were before you had kids to the knitter you are?
Yes.
Yeah?
But I have evolved massively. I now use colour.
Oh, okay. Were you not a colourful knitter before?
I wasn't a colourful person before.
Really?
I like in personality maybe. I've always been fruity. But but like I definitely make much bolder colour choices now.
Okay.
And I enjoy wearing colour a lot more now. Like I have a neon dress now. Like I know, right?
So cool.
And I wear pink, and I never used to wear pink because I don't know. I think somebody told me once that you couldn't wear pink with red hair.
There's a bunch of rules about that with redheads that are all so stupid. But green too, right?
Yeah, green washes you out apparently.
Which is untrue. Like every redhead I've ever seen in green looks amazing.
But it's like every shade and every tone has to be the right tone.
Yes.
Right? It has to be like you can have a million different greens, right?
Yeah.
So, but no. And then there's don't wear black with brown. I like a black and a brown.
I love a black and a brown.
Right.
I love a navy and a black.
Oh, yeah.
And a navy and a brown, actually.
Oh, a navy and a brown.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my next album, navy and brown. I don't sing. So that's kind of where we got with that. Like I have evolved. I am a different person. I'm a different knitter. I'm a different maker. We make very different choices, or I make very different choices now. And I definitely make projects now because I enjoy them. Not because I feel like I should make them.
Oh, interesting. Why did you feel like you should make things before?
It's that, like, want to keep up with the Joneses. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I realise the irony of that as I'm knitting a Rhinebeck sweater that everyone else is knitting too, but it's now I knit things because they bring me joy.
I think there's also a difference in knitting because you feel like you need to keep up with the Joneses and participating in a like community activity.
Massively.
Like the Rhinebeck sweater. And I know that the Rhinebeck sweater might feel like keeping up with the Joneses to some people, and other people will feel like
it's my first Rhinebeck as well, and I want to go full Rhinebeck.
Yeah. I think both of those feelings are okay.
I like the pattern. I'm enjoying the community aspect of it. And I think
Do you want to show that one off since we're now talking about this will be the what we're knitting section.
Yeah.
The podcast.
And I just remember as well, now I knit things in colours as well that aren't like ordinary for me.
I'm so excited about your framed.
It's gonna be amazing.
It's so good.
Here we have the giant ball of yarn bar. Don't look too closely at the sleeve because I need to tink it back. But this is my Rhinebeck sweater.
It looks so amazing.
And it's got a fluffy fringe. Isn't it good?
Okay, I'm going to hold this up a bit closer. So this is the framed sweater by Andrea Mowry. It's her Rhinebeck sweater for the year. I happen to know what yarn New is using because she bought it at a yarn story. So she is using Walcott Yarn's Opus brand new key lime pie here for the framing color. So that is the like lime chartreusey green. And then she's using Origin, Walcott Yarn's Origin in Petunia as the background color. And Spin Cycle Yarn's Dream State in Big Sky. I also love how this looks from a distance, like on camera over there.
Yeah, I've never looked at
it. It looks different than it does when it's up close because you can't see the individual pixels. You see sort of patterns of color. But I mean, this is bold.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it is. I had a little wobble with it.
Did you now?
Yeah, I don't know why. I just had a little like, I said too much. Should I have gone for blue? And then I got over it. Then I got over it pretty quickly, and there we are. Also,
it is beautiful.
It is. And it's amazing. And the way that this is coming out, the neon in the thing is just the thing and the stuff and the love, isn't it? It's brilliant. So that's and I just need to pull my finger out my butt and get the sleeves done. I'm going to make long sleeves though.
It's not a short sleeve jumper though.
It's a 3/4 length one.
Is it?
Yeah, I can't be doing that shit.
No, 3/4 length.
Sorry.
I did do that on my Bella blocking recently.
Did you?
Since we're doing whips here, I also, really embarrassingly, have this project in not a hide and hammer bag. I do own...
I mean, firstly, you amazingly dismissed me, and now you're like...
We do love a netta, though.
We can pink hazel.
Pink hazel.
You know what, funnily enough, I nearly bought 2 of my knitting projects in her bags as well, because she's just...
Well, I basically have so many whips that they're all in the other ones. I do have a hide and hammer.
You are representing.
Yes.
What my hands did then. Represent.
I am also doing Andrea's framed Rhinebeck sweater, but I only just started. So I am like nowhere on the color work yet. But
I like the fluff. That's really nice.
The fluff's looking nice. I'm using Walcott Yarn's Origin in Cascade Sunset, which is like purpley blue. And then Walcott Yarns and Les Garçons Fluff in Cold Rain, which is the cool gray. Plus Spin Cycle Dream State in Next Level, which is our custom colorway, full of blues and pinks and corals.
I need to finish my sweater in that color.
So yeah, I'm a little bit behind. I
really like the way that you guys do the blues though, because you do blues and purples really well.
Oh, thanks.
Because they can be blue or purple.
Yes. This is probably one of my favorites from the range. And Spellbound in Opus is similar. It's a little bit more purpley.
It was the Spellbound that I made my tessellated in.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that looks really good.
Yeah. It goes with so many colors, too. It's a really good background color. And also, I was just recently, I was in Oregon this summer. And I saw why I called this color Cascade Sunset. Like,
that's so cool.
the way the sun can set behind those mountains there just creates this like purpley, bluey, reddy melange
so cool.
behind the mountains. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't just make that up in my head. That
I did
is
that.
happening over there in the
With my balls.
sky. Yeah.
Take a yarn ball with you next time.
I should have done that. I
No.
did not do that.
That
That would have been a good idea. So that is my main whip at the moment. I, of course, have like 20 others, but that's my active whip. But you have some other active whips here.
I do. And I'll do the finished objects in a minute. This one's an active whip. This is, so like we were saying about the just knitting round and round and round and round and round. So this one's a muscle bra. But I can't say muscle bra.
It is kind of a tricky word.
Well, no, it's just like the 90s kid in me is like bra. So it's like muscle bra every time.
Okay.
It's like, we up to bra, muscle bra.
I just find it a tricky word to say properly.
Yeah.
Because I want to say muscle burrow.
Oh, yeah.
Because of how it's
There
spelled.
used to be an O in there, though. Is it B-U-R?
Isn't it?
G-H? I don't know.
I don't know.
I've actually been there.
Is it a location?
It's a location.
I
It's
didn't
just
know
outside of
that.
Edinburgh.
Okay.
It's where the marathon finishes.
Hmm.
And it's the most difficult place on earth to get to when the marathon finishes, as I discovered watching my brother run. But we went there, we went for a walk along the pier. There's a surprising lack of cafes.
Oh.
But,
Sad.
you know,
Okay.
it was pissing it down with rain and it was just one of those days.
This is a lovely color, though.
So this is, you sold me this,
Did I?
I think.
I don't think so.
Le Garçon, Siri.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
What color is that?
Brain buffering.
That's
don't know.
not their peppermint.
No, it's one of the ones I think I bought from you at Unravel that was left. This is what, 2-3 years ago?
Okay.
And then this is the,
I always remember the colors.
this is a Stranded Dye Works one when Jude was still dying.
Yeah.
It's the colourway he did for his mum.
There's a label here.
Maybe I bought it from, I don't know.
Pastel
Yeah.
Billy. I don't think you got that from me. I haven't
Or maybe it was
ever
one of
seen-
the yellow ones. But
Um,
Carmen does stock Le Garçon,
I do,
just
but
maybe not this colour.
and well, actually, they don't do the Surrey anymore.
Damn it!
Um,
I was like, oh, I'll get in there with a little bit of a yarn story plug. Brilliant.
it's because we now collaborate on fluff,
Of course you do.
so there's not really
Oh, yeah.
room for Surrey.
Well, I mean, I get pretty cross with, you know, the whole thing. They'd just be doing you out of business, honestly. Hi, boys. Love you. So it's muscle bra, and it just keeps going round and round.
Yeah.
And I already own one of these in a coral pink,
Yes.
which I
Which
love.
is very cute. Yeah.
It's also huge. So this is, yeah, the poolside knitting. Or my favourite one is standing in the kitchen waiting for things to boil knitting.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that's more knitting than I do.
Yeah. Well, I just
Sure.
sort of stand there and knit because the other option is responding to the mum, mummy, mum, mum.
I'm knitting. I can't.
Mum. I'm like, that's nice. Ooh, sa.
All right. What's the big giant project over there?
Okay.
I
So-
love this one.
The Big Giant Project is something that I came up with a really long time ago that I really need to finish. And I know that Max has finished his.
I haven't started mine. I've put my yarn to the side
Have you?
for it, but
So I have got an enormous amount of 4-ply because I think everybody does. When you've been knitting for a long time, you knit socks, jumpers, everything, right? And I've kind of evolved as a knitter in the sense that I always used to buy like the single skein of sock yarn.
same.
Guilty. And I think actually it was because I couldn't afford to buy sweater quantity. Like the whole...
Yeah.
I used to watch a lot of podcasts where people were like, oh, and I bought this sweater quantity. And I was like, I couldn't fathom that when I first started.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It felt like a lot of commitment or buying a sweater quantity for like a project I didn't know about. Or yeah, it was a much bigger expense than a single skein.
I think
of
it's the
sock yarn.
commitment as well. And also I remember like a load of stories and stuff about mum in the past, but I like if you meet somebody and you want to support their business,
Yeah.
like a single skein of the sock yarn is a really good way of doing that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or like stitch markers or whatever it is. Because it's about the people that run the businesses and not just the businesses.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I had like tons of it left over. And so I didn't want to sit and knit a 4-ply blanket because I've done that before with crochet.
I remember that project too.
Mm-hmm. Also still not finished. And I didn't just want to hold strands double because, So I came up with a way of attaching a I-cord maker to a drill and did that and made balls of yarn. And this is the blanket. And the fun thing about it is...
Hold this up to the camera properly so you can see that this is a blanket knitted out of I-cord. So, yeah. And, I mean, you're so creative.
So it's a corner-to-corner one.
Yeah, so is it getting smaller again?
It's getting smaller again now,
Yay.
yeah. So it's getting smaller again. And I've done it corner to corner because I have commitment issues. And I didn't want to... I also fucking loathe doing gauge swatches. And I wasn't...
Well, it's a blanket. What size needle are you using?
Giant.
Like 12?
15?
15. Yeah.
So I wasn't going to knit a gauge swatch because that shit wasn't happening. And so I knit to the width of my bed and then started decreasing.
I mean, that's a very good way to do it.
It's the same way I make all the crochet blankets as well. You increase on either side and it makes a triangle and then you decrease. Job done. I mean, everything is square, clearly. Although you can't do it if you just increase on one side and you decrease on the other. You'd make it a rectangle. And
People
then you could
are
decrease
now
together.
watching Newsbrain at work.
Welcome to my stream of consciousness. You are so welcome. There's a little freebie for you there. Don't say I don't give you anything.
Do you want to show off what I-cord maker you used attached to your drill? Because I think we're going to get some questions about this.
So the best one that I found in a disposable sense, as in if you're worried about it, you're not sure about it, and you don't want to, invest in it to start off with, is these purple ones from...
Are they from Prim?
No, these ones are the IKEA one. Not IKEA. Another large brand, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, that one.
Oh, okay.
These are Amazon. Yes, I know, but also it has
and basically, New just takes the handle out that would be right there.
Yeah, so you pull the handle out, the purple handle.
So you take the handle out, and then you put the drill in.
You need
drill
a
bit in there.
6mm flat head.
Yeah.
To get in there, and if I can undo the bit that this has all got caught on.
Oh, well, that's all
right. I have used a Prim one as well.
I think I have that one at home.
So this one you can do exactly the same with, and you can take I'll do it now. You can take the handle off it too. The thing I found with this one is that it's much more expensive investment if you go too fast in the gear strips.
Right.
So I don't know if you've known this about me, but I'm terribly impatient, and I like to see quick progress. Otherwise, I move on to the next thing fairly quickly, with haste.
Well, which is why she moved on from doing this to make an I-cord, cranking.
Oh, honestly. I tell you what, though, I'm terribly upset with my children because I tried to employ them to do it for me. Mm-hmm. They weren't interested.
What the hell are you having kids for?
I know,
if not to make you I-cord.
I know. Terribly disappointing. Not only did they not do... Well, she's an excellent screen printer, I have discovered.
Oh, okay.
So we'll keep her for a bit.
Okay.
And owner's, still good for a bit. So slave labour doesn't kick in till about 4 years old, I reckon.
He's a bit young for that.
He is a bit young, yeah. It's all right. We've got a year yet. Go on, mate. Let's be having you. But yeah, so it was that easy.
Does the I-cord actually come out of there?
Mm-hmm. That's this little bum hole.
It's like so small though.
I'll show you. Look, that bit comes off.
Okay.
There. So the I-cord comes out of there, and you put it through there, and then you use that as
that's
the weight.
The weight.
So
gotcha.
You pull it to one side and thing.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do this, my piece of advice for you would be to get some like strong clampy clip things, the smaller versions of these. And then, so use the weight to start off with.
For our audio only audience, this is, what is this even called? It's like one of those.
They're not G-clamps, they're
like, you get them in a hardware store.
They're like.
It's a clampy
bench
thing.
clamps.
Yeah.
It's a
You can use a bunch of clothespins too. They're just lighter.
You can, and you can actually use like just like needles and pins and stuff
Yeah,
to
you just
hold
need
it
something
in
to
place.
weight.
So you start winding your yarn into a ball, and then you clamp it in place, and then you carry on. Because it goes round and round in circles, you need to take the twist out of it. Is how you do it. So I do it standing up, holding it, drill it, wind it up, and the twist falls out of it because it just goes round and round in circles.
Okay.
So there you go. That's crafting with new.
So I have gathered up a lot of my 4-ply to start making this. I just haven't actually started my I-cord yet.
If you get really time efficient, not lazy, time efficient, you can take it straight off the Swift as well. So you can drill straight from the Swift, but you need to have a little bit of resistance on your Swift, otherwise it goes back on itself.
Okay.
And then that's when you break the thing because you're trying to be too time efficient.
This might be how I end up making my sister a blanket finally, because I owed her a housewarming gift of a hand knit blanket 10 years ago. So instead, she's still using the blanket I made her when she went off to college.
Oh.
Yeah, that sounds sweeter than it is, but I did the laziest thing in the world. I went to the fabric store and I got a giant piece of cow print fleece, brown and white.
Yeah.
And then a giant piece of like fuzzy purple whatever.
Love it. Yeah.
I sewed it inside out.
Yeah.
Turned it in like right side out. So the sides basically made a pillowcase as a blanket.
I did that with the blanket I made for Tom, like the first birthday that we were together. I made him a Union Jack quilt.
No.
But I know where my limitations begin and end. So I spent hours piecing this quilt, like this thing together. And the Union Jack was amazing. And then I was like, I'm not going to quilt it because I'm going to fuck it up if I do that. Like, I'm not great with the stitching of the lines and the things. Like, so I just, on my mate's floor, put it all down, pinned it back to it, shoved some, and then closed it up.
Yeah.
Basically.
It works.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does. It's
is
still
a blanket.
around.
Yeah, I mean,
the blanket's still here. He still uses it.
My sister still uses hers. I just promised her a newer one 10 years ago.
Well, we can do that today. Do you want to ice dye something? And then we can just we'll just make a giant pillowcase for her.
I promised her a knitted one.
Oh my God, you could make a big one that you could then put the old one inside.
I mean, yes.
So then it's like a duvet.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
There's going to be like a pause in the video now where we go and make that.
And bring it back. It'll be like, ta-da! Movie magic.
By the power of editing. It's now dark outside, but look what we've got.
Oh, can we talk about your crochet shoes for a minute?
Yeah.
Because we started this by you saying, I don't really crochet. But actually you made the most exquisite...
I used to work for a shoemaker in London, and we used to push boundaries, I guess is the way of saying it. So she's a world-renowned cordwainer and shoemaker because she could do all of it. And I used to work
with cordwainer?
Shoemaker.
Oh, okay.
But it's like a specific part of it. So there's there's loads of difference. There's like closing, there's finishing, there's clicking. Like if you have a really good...
I'm learning so much.
Yeah. So there's loads and loads. I won't go into it because it's a huge rabbit hole, but you can Google it. And so I used to work for her, and she used to make shoes for Victoria's Secret models and Russian oligarchs' wives and all sorts. This is before the Russia situation. This was like 10 plus years ago. And so I made crochet shoes that they don't look like kind of crochet espadrilles. They are incredibly fine.
Exquisite.
I used to make them on a 0.75 crochet hook. And I made my own handles for the crochet hooks. So I put Fimo in the oven. This is a really, really good thing, right? If you have a project or if you just have the metal needle, the hooks.
So tiny. Like I can't even focus on it.
Yeah, it's a 0.6. A 0.6. 0.6, yeah. If you have issues with hands and holding hooks and stuff, get yourself some Fimo, like the polymer baking
or
clay.
Fimo, as we pronounce it in America.
Get yourself some Fimo. And you can just stick the crochet hooks into it and bake them, the metal ones. So then they're molded to your hands. So
yeah, I mean, I find that terribly uncomfortable because it is literally made for your
it's
hand.
made exactly for my hand. Yeah. So that is how I did hours and hours of crochet. But the shoes.
We have a photo.
We have several. There we go. So we started out. Shall I show it?
Yeah.
We started out with these ones, which are a green.
I need to hide behind you so that
green crochet shoe with flowers on, and we made a basket as well to match that with leather panels on it. And then we went to these ones. So the pink with the little rosebuds, and the blue there as well with the rosebuds too. Oh, sorry, black there with the rosebuds as well. And then we made some crochet flats as well. So they're suede, full suede leather, but with the crochet overlay. There too. I think that's. Oh yeah, I took my hand at crewel work as well. Is crewel work a thing for you?
No.
It was a crewel work leather handbag that had never been done before, so we gave it a go, and there it is. So yeah, that kind of style.
Good grief.
It's done with wool, applewood wool embroidery wools and things. These were my favourite.
They are absolutely exquisite.
Those ones were slightly thicker as well, so it was less work. I say less work. It was same amount of work.
So you don't get to say, I'm not a very good crocheter anymore.
I have a specific niche set of skills when it comes to crocheting. I can crochet you a pair of shoes.
But she's not offering to do that.
I'm not offering to do that. No.
Okay, just...
they were... So I made another pair recently. And, they're like 70 to 80 hours work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. And it's a lot of very fine work. And you crochet them onto the last as well. So the lasts are made specifically for each client. And you have to take in, there's a lot of consideration that goes into the wear of the shoe, the use of the shoe, the strength points and things as well. So I reinforced the last pair that we made. And do you remember Molla Mills when we did the course with her? And the tapestry style crochet? Yeah. It's like that, but that's how you use it to reinforce it with not the different colours. It was
interesting.
I had to come up with very unique and interesting ways of hiding things in it, which was great fun.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what makes my brain tick.
I think that's actually a good segue into part 2 of this episode. So I'm going to thank you for coming on to the A Yarn Story Knitting podcast. It has been an absolute delight to have you. We are making a part 2 to this episode where we're going to dig deeper into Hide and Hammer.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
And the business of Hide and Hammer.
I get to show off my tools.
And yes, we will show off your tools and your bags, which I realized we didn't do in this episode really, although Kaylee and Susan and I have done that multiple times.
I was just looking at that and I was like, I'm pretty sure that you've, apart from the leather one on top, you've shown them all. So that's great.
But we're going to show them
Thanks
again.
for that, by the way.
Well, we are rather addicted to them. So, but thank you so much for watching and listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and, forward us to a friend. And we will catch you in part 2 or another episode sometime. Thanks.